Guys, I'm here to talk to you about our Patreon. Patreon.com/shades-and-sketch. We've got all kind of great content for you there you won't find in normal episodes. You can join and support the show for as little as $1 a month. At $5, you unlock all kind of exclusive content like episode voting, Patreon-only episodes, and exclusive artwork. On to this week's episode.
Oh, hello. I'm Sketch.
And I'm Shades.
And this is Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch. Welcome back, longtime listeners.
Glad to be here.
Once again, you have joined us as we have taken our GoCo, our Geeking Out Command Outpost, to another new corner of the Geeking Out multiverse.
Sketch, I don't think we've ever been here before.
We have not been here before. Not big readers.
No.
It's not me.
Reading's for chumps.
But today, longtime listeners, you have stumbled upon us perusing the aisles of a nice local kind of, like small business.
Local to where it is.
Local to where it is. Not local to us because we're not local. We're everywhere.
Not local anywhere.
Yeah. Just, like a mom and pop kind of bookstore, like not a big box store.
We're basically Chewbacca of the holiday Star Wars special.
Yeah. We're abandoning our children?
Pretty much.
Okay. Sorry, Doodle. I guess this just in.
We go home once every 30 years.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Just traveling the multiverse.
Because what longtime listeners don't know is that we're desperately trying to go home.
Yes.
Each one of these locations is another attempt.
Hey.
And it never works out.
Never.
The GoCo takes you where you need to be, not
where you want to be. Yes.
So anyway, if we are talking about... Yeah. Where are we, Shades?
We are at AZ Fell & Co.
Which is a lovely little bookstore.
Just charming.
In London.
Yes.
And it's just, you can smell that smell of old pages.
Of just decaying leather and paper.
You feel just eons of knowledge and story around us. And so if we are at the bookstore whose name I can't remember.
A play on Aziraphale.
Yeah, a play on Aziraphale and Company, then that must mean we are talking about Amazon Prime's
and BBC Two's
Good Omens. More like Great Omens. Yes, that's what I said to you when I finished it.
Yep.
If we are talking Good Omens, do we have a theme song?
I believe we do, Sketch.
All right, let's hear it.
Ooh, you make me live. Whatever this world can give to me, you're my best friend.
That's like our theme song, too.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love it.
I love that I get to serenade you almost every episode, Sketch.
Yeah, and our longtime listeners.
And you longtime listeners.
Yeah, they've been writing in for eons wanting that. And,
I know.
And now
there
we're delivering. So, guys.
We listen long time.
If we are talking Good Omens, then we are going to spoil, guess what? Good Omens. Specifically the show.
Yes.
Because you and I have not read the book.
To date, we have not yet read the books.
No.
So spoilers for the Neil Gaiman, Terry Pratchett, possibly book.
Yeah.
And most definitely the series, but also spoilers for Judeo-Christian spirituality, mythology, belief, scripture.
Buckle in, long-time listeners.
Whatever you want to call that. Spoilers for folklore, English folklore, spoilers for...
We already took
apocryphal.
We already took on the Egyption mythology pantheon.
Yep. We've done Thor. We've done.
We've done Norse
mythology. And now it's time to.
It's time to head into.
Now it's time to just debase and sacrilege Judeo-Christianity.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just like Netflix did. Those damn Netflix people. I hope they never air another episode of Good Omens.
They have already stated publicly they will never air another episode of Good Omens.
Well. Too little, too late.
Talk about caving to pressure.
Too little, too late, I say.
Is
Netflix.
it that easy? Netflix.
Come on.
Is it that easy? Like, can we get Sequest DSV back on Netflix, please?
I want a Sequest DSV set in modern day, which would still be in the future of the original series.
That'd be great.
So get on that, Netflix. So, Shades, we are talking about this gem of a show, this little gem of a show, just 6 episodes, Amazon Prime, very doable. Guys, I'm going to stop you right here and say, if you have not seen it yet, but you have access to Amazon Prime,
what are you waiting for?
I highly recommend checking the show out.
6 episodes.
It's very good. It's very manageable. And if you don't like it after the first episode, don't finish it. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
You're going to finish it.
But
it's that good.
It's so good, and it's not often we get such a manageable series.
Seriously.
Yeah.
6 episodes. And really left me hungry for more sketch.
I don't think you're going to get any more.
I don't think I'm going to get any more.
Which I like about it, but we're going to get there.
Well, maybe.
We're going to get there.
We'll get there.
Do you want to start with the history of the Good Omens property?
Sure.
Before we give our history.
In the beginning.
Oh, boy.
Good Omens began as a collaboration between British authors Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. Neil Gaiman, England, and Terry Pratchett, Wales. Published in 1990, it chronicles the adventures of Aziraphale, Angel of the Lord, and Crowley, Demon of Hell, as they work to guide the Antichrist along the straight and narrow in an attempt to avert the apocalypse.
That's great, because we got the synopsis too. That's great. I love it.
The authors had always planned to adapt the yarn into a venture of a movie or TV, with various directors and writers attached over the years. None coming to fruition. In 2011, it looked as though a limited series would move forward on the BBC, but it did not. In 2015, Terry Pratchett passed, no longer with us, and Neil Gaiman refused to ever consider working on an adaptation without him.
Really?
Yes. So all hope seemed to be lost.
Do you have what changed his mind?
Yes.
Oh!
However, after Gaiman received a letter from Pratchett written to be sent after his death.
Oh, this is getting cool. This is getting even better than like fiction.
Gaiman, sorry, I'll try that again. Yes. So he received a letter written by Pratchett before he died to be sent after his death, urging Gaiman to finish the project. So basically they were contemporaries, neighbors for a while, and this was like their back and forth that they turned into a book. They had always planned to write a sequel, but when Neil Gaiman moved to the United States in the late 90s, they never collaborated again. Yeah. Remained friends, but never collaborated.
That'll be like us when I moved to the States.
Sure, yeah.
I'm thinking about it one of these days.
Okay.
I just love friends too much. I'm just still here amongst my people.
That's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
I love the sauces.
It's the wrong podcast sketch.
Oh, you're right. That's getting sauce.
Yeah. This is Geeking Out with Sheen and Sketch.
Shoot. Okay. Let me.
So after receiving that letter, he did, in fact, move forward with offers that he'd been receiving. The series was announced on January 19th, 2017. Principal photography began in September of 2017, and it wrapped production in March of 2018.
Nice.
Now, they had always intended on creating a sequel, and while they're not committed to producing a sequel, if they have the right story, if the stars align, they had mapped out where the story was going to go. And so Gaiman has a very good idea of what season 2 would look like. And David Tennant and Michael Sheen have both said that if Neil Gaiman is involved and the story is good, they're both game to come back. Both
actors were amazing.
Yes.
That wasn't what I was going to say, but they both were amazing. They both seem to like eat this role up. They both seem to really enjoy doing.
Well, interesting. I heard an interview with David Tennant on a podcast called Behind the Scenes recently, and Michael Sheen and David Tennant are contemporaries. They're very good friends, but they've never worked together because there's usually only one role for a 30s to 50s white Brit in a piece.
Yeah.
So they're usually
competing
up against each other for the role. So this was the first time they've ever gotten to work together. And an interesting a piece about like what roles they've been up for each other. Michael Sheen auditioned to be the Doctor.
Oh.
David Tennant auditioned to play Michael Sheen's part in both Tron and the original Underworld movie And so, yeah, they've never had opportunity to work together, and they enjoyed it quite a bit. So
that's awesome.
It's great. If they do move forward this second season, I think we'll get both of them back.
I've seen they're really hitting the publicity circuit together.
Yes, they are.
Which is telling that they're not doing it separately.
Right.
You see that plenty.
Oh yeah.
But they're doing it together. And I haven't seen all of it, but from what I have seen, good chemistry, good real life chemistry.
Yes. And just along with that, the series has been out now for over a month.
Over a month, yeah.
And they're still doing press for it, which is great. And that just reinforces the fact that they genuinely do like each other's company. Or
yeah.
They had plenty of opportunity to get off the train.
Absolutely. I still can't get over the post-mortem letter.
I know, right?
Do you have any letters that are sent to go out in the event of your death?
I don't.
Yeah.
But before I read that and researched for this, I was thinking like, oh man, like if something were to happen to me, how would I like pass on passwords and things?
Yeah.
Like, so I have thought about sending like a time released.
Yeah.
Because you can do that now with like mail servers. If you don't log in for a certain number of days, an email will go out. If you don't like,
technology is amazing.
You can just like set it to send.
Similar. It's not a letter, but in the time of my death, my computer's set to self-destruct.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm working on some stuff.
Important information. We'll make sure to get that off the GoCo.
Yeah. Perhaps I've said too much.
Perhaps.
Good Omens. Good on you, Good Omens. Shades, what's your history with the property of Good Omens?
I saw the announcement. Not even the announcement. I saw. I was aware of the book. I never got around to reading it. I still haven't. I'd like to. But I saw Neil Gaiman tweeted out a picture of Tenant and Sheen in their costumes on the first day of filming. And I was pretty much all in.
There you go.
On that from the time he tweeted it out and wanted to learn as much as I could about the project. And I've been eagerly awaiting it for 2 years.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Okay.
We binged it.
Yeah. It's an easy one to binge.
It is. It's only 6 episodes, and I feel like we watched it over the course of like
it's an evening.
2 or 3 days.
It's a full evening, but you could do it in an evening.
Yeah, I think we did it in like 2 days.
I don't recommend doing it in an evening.
No. Because you can't process what happened in what episode.
No, I'm just saying for people who are time crunched.
Yeah, you can do it.
You can do it. It's totally possible. 6 hours of media.
Yeah.
My history.
Yeah, Sketch. What is your history with Good Omens?
Is very similar. I never even knew of the book. Didn't know anything about it. The only reason I knew it was coming was because, as our longtime listeners know, David Tennant is in my top 3.
Top 3.
So I follow him on social media. I follow like
his fan account, something.
Accounts, yeah, something like that.
I don't believe David Tennant himself is on social media,
and I don't blame him. Yeah. I don't blame him at all.
He does have a very wonderful podcast.
Yeah. I got to give that a listen. I only just learned about that. Maybe if I had listened, it would be my recommendation for this episode.
Maybe.
I can't, in good faith, I can't recommend something I haven't participated in yet.
That's
Anywho, so in following those accounts, I saw that he was due out in this, and I had no idea what it was, but I liked his look in it. And so I was like, well, whatever it is, I'll give it a shot. And dropped on Amazon Prime. Luckily, I am a member
Prime subscriber.
Amazon Prime. And basically from the get-go, from the opening, I was like, okay, I'm going to like this.
All in.
I'm really going to enjoy this.
Yep.
And so I took in the whole thing, within like 2-3 days, like you did. And I also would like to read the book now that I'm aware that a book exists. Yeah. Based on this.
I'll just like, along with, not really history for the property, but I was raised in the Roman Catholic tradition.
Oh boy, here we go.
So I'll just say, as someone who's fallen off of that wagon, happily, this was like great kind of pseudo therapy for that, and just the way it treats mysticism and organized religion. It's both it's irreverent, but also at the same time reverent. And it's like you can't create something like this without having a genuine appreciation for it. So in the treatment of particularly the voice of God.
Yeah, I like God.
Francis McDormand.
God kind of fell off towards the end, which I guess had to because of what was coming. But I liked when God was narrating at the beginning.
And that was, so you have to have an appreciation for when you do something like this to be able to effectively, in the voice of God, speak so irreverently about what is happening in the name of God.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated that.
And it was really nice to have a story that was based on this mythos that we are all aware of.
Yes.
Regardless of believer or non-believer.
Ooh.
I mean, if you live in the Western world, you are familiar with these stories already.
Yes.
We didn't go that deep into like really obscure biblical stories. It was hitting on the greatest hits that like anybody, even of like any faith, would really recognize some of these as the biggest.
My favorite moment was
Jesus?
Noah's Ark.
Okay, I loved Jesus.
Jesus was, that was...
Oh, God, what did he do to invoke this kind of wrath?
He asked them to be nice to one another.
Oh, that'll do it.
That'll do it.
I laughed. I laughed. And that was a gruesome scene, too.
We paused
on
and laughed.
On the heel, it just turned, because that was gruesome, and then it got to be like, oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, tongue in cheek.
Yes.
Tongue and cheek. You have to have a sense of humor watching this show. You have to have an open mind, but not even like that much of one. It doesn't take much. It just takes you to not be completely stuck in your ways.
Yeah, which is just important in general.
And it has a fantastic message, but I'm not going to get into that until we get to Rants and Raves because that will pepper into one of mine.
I agree.
Do you have the all-important...
I do.
Internet scores.
And,
we need like a zinger there.
Stinger.
No zinger.
No, stinger.
No, I want a zinger, though.
But what you're asking for is called a stinger.
No, I mean, isn't a zinger when you have like hot lemon water and some sort of alcohol?
I think it's just a tea.
Well, there's hot toddy.
That's with whiskey. Guys, welcome to Getting Sauced with Skage and what am I saying?
Who's the sauced one now?
Shades and Sketch.
Who's the sauced one now? We're both sauced in two different ways. All right. Shades.
I'm drinking tea.
There's
nothing in it but honey.
Do you have the all-important internet scores?
I do. I want to, I think this might be our last foray with Metacritic.
Wow. Well, Metacritic, it's been a pleasure. Not really, but it's been something having you here.
Don't
go out of order, but I'll be interested to hear Metacritic. But you always start with IMDb.
The all-important internet scores. IMDb gives Good Omens an 8.3.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes, 82. Critic score. Fan score, as of today, looking at it, 100%.
Wow.
Metacritic. Critic score, 66%.
Wow.
Fan score, 7.1. 98% of Google reviewers liked Good Omens.
I know I said it in Spider-Man, but like, what is it with Metacritic?
Like, I don't know.
Do they just not like media?
It seems to be a platform of people who review movies for a living, but hate movies and television.
Which is like, that could be so fun.
It could be.
That could be a fun podcast of like, just people who hate movies, like reviewing movies, like good movies.
Right.
And being like, that was dumb.
Right.
Yeah. Rosebud. Like.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. Dumb. People don't talk like that. Like, I could get into a podcast like that for like 10 minutes. But Metacritic is like abusing power over here.
It is.
Yeah.
It is every bit as bad as Rotten Tomatoes was when I brought them in. And I don't think we need them here anymore.
So are we putting it down right now? Is this the last Metacritic score?
I think so.
Okay, bye Metacritic.
I don't think we need them.
Now we'll stick with IMDb,
Rotten Tomatoes, and Google.
Sure. That's fine, because IMDb I feel is always fair. Rotten Tomatoes can be a little low, and Google is always a little high.
Yeah.
We don't need fuck you, Metacritic.
Fuck you, Metacritic.
Jesus Christ. Come on, get out of here. All right, Shades of Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch. What do you give Good Omens?
Well, Sketch, I think this is my second perfect 100%.
Very good. Your other one was Multiverse? Spider-Verse? Was that 100%?
Yeah, I gave Spider-Verse a perfect 100%.
Very, very good.
It might be my third then. I think I gave something else a perfect 100.
Oh, Answer the Call.
No.
No, it wasn't Answer the Call?
It was not Answer the Call.
Oh, boy. Long-time listeners, if you remember if there was another 100%, because we could easily look back in our notebook, but
we're not going to.
Not going to do that. We don't edit. Why would we look back in a notebook?
Sketch, what do you give Good Omens?
I did not give it 100, but I did gosh darn love it.
Podcast over.
So I gave it a 95.
95, that's great.
Gave it a 95. Solid A. Really, really enjoyed it. We'll get into my very teeny tiny minor rants a little bit later.
Okay.
So let's start with raves, as we always usually do.
How many raves do you have?
I have 4 raves.
I have 6.
Gosh.
Should I go first?
Darn it, yeah.
Okay, my first...
They're probably all going to be mine, too.
Possibly.
Because it's a short series.
The Message.
Yeah, I got that.
That is my biggest rave. We're more than our affiliations, beliefs in politics, jobs, etc. I love that. It's the perfect message for 2019. Mm-hmm. So you've got if an angel charged with guarding Eden and the demon that caused the fall can be best friends, there's hope for all of us.
Yeah.
And I love that. And, represented by the cold open, maybe the longest cold open in the history of television, coming in at 31 minutes, the beginning of episode 3.
Wow.
Before the credits, 31 minutes before the credits roll.
That's the one I told you I think you're really going to like.
That was my favorite episode.
Yes. Yeah. That was amazing.
Chronicling Crowley and Aziraphale's friendship, literally from the beginning of man.
Yep.
They are both
wonderful.
Yeah. And wow. They must have had so much fun filming that, and it was just a joy to watch. Yeah. And that's so rare.
I wanted more. I wanted more of that.
I could do a whole series of just that.
Not enough to like make it a rant. I'm left wanting in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they did not beat a dead horse or anything. I could have gone for that.
I'm told that is only alluded to. They like mention those things in the book.
Oh, so they fleshed them out for the story.
And I can see where that would because it was a very visual.
It was very visual.
It was a very visual, experience.
Yeah.
And I was just tickled pink at both the Noah's Ark and the flood. Like, Shem, that unicorn's getting away. Oh, never mind.
No, you still have one.
Still have one.
Yep.
That was just wonderful. And then, of course, the crucifixion.
I love this. That scene has made me laugh so hard. Which is like such an odd thing to say if you haven't seen the show.
But I mean, it was perfect.
It was. The delivery is like so deadpan.
And in the New Testament, you get the story of the temptation. Yeah. And then the way that they spin it here is Crowley. Oh, I always liked him.
Yeah.
I kind of felt bad. Never got to see the world. Grew up. He's going to die 20 miles from where he was born.
Yeah.
So I took
carpenter, so I took him on a little trip.
I took him on a little trip. Yep. It was a great time. I liked him. And just, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's,
let's start. Well, we'll talk about the two of them in a second, but I'll back you up on the message because I got a slightly different but similar message to yours. Mine, the message I got out of this whole story was, it was an example of the whole nature versus nurture.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's definitely another big component.
I simply wrote down, allow the world to shape you and you will shape the world. Because that is exactly what happened.
Deep.
They were not, neither of these two characters were removed from the world. Yeah. As a matter of fact, they're living amongst with the humans.
Yes.
And before they tried to enact change, they were changed themselves.
Yes.
They were... they grew, and as these timeless, immortal beings, to think that they could grow,
right?
Whereas their counterparts in heaven and hell did not grow; they stayed stagnant.
Yes,
and that was the problem. That was the big issue. These characters not only adapted to their life on Earth, but they grew to love it and appreciate it in a way. They became more human in a good way.
Yes.
Whereas both the devils and the angels would say it is not good to become human.
Right. You've been on Earth, that he's been on Earth too long.
Yeah.
Was the thing they kept saying of Aziraphale.
Exactly. And you also saw that in the Antichrist.
Yes.
Because here is this being that has been birthed as the son of Satan.
Right.
Who is meant to bring upon Armageddon, but through a series of mishaps.
Unfortunate events.
If you will. He is placed in the care of just a normal, regular English family, has a very typical upbringing.
Oh man, that was such a lame device, but it was so funny that they kept Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Nick Offerman
was the ambassador. Yeah,
they named their son Warlock.
Yes. And our Antichrist, even though he is by definition, by birth, the Antichrist, he's had a normal upbringing with a normal dad, and he's a normal kid. And when push comes to shove, it's about how he was raised.
Yes,
not who he was.
Yes,
and what a GD powerful message, like you said in 2019. That it's more about how you are treated and how you treat people than who you are by birth and by definition.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off of that again, just to burn through some of my raves here. I love that a story about Armageddon comes down to a boy and his dog and his friends.
Yeah.
And that was it was the device that they set up early, the Hellhound, that the Hellhound takes on the personification of whatever the Antichrist desires, and his true nature is revealed. And dog.
Yep, he just names a dog.
His name is Dog. Is just a puppy that wants his belly rubbed.
Just a good little boy.
Just a good little. It's and the Hellhound that's supposed to rip the flesh from man, and is just a regular old dog that wants to sleep on the bed and have his belly rubbed.
Yeah.
And I thought that was he was basically Adam was essentially Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
And it was basically Charlie Brown and Snoopy.
And it was so lovely. I mean, we already said there's going to be spoilers, but when the big climax comes, when it's Satan coming to Earth.
Yeah.
And in that moment, the Antichrist Adam has all the power.
Yes.
That basically whatever he wills will become reality.
Yes.
And he sees Satan coming up through the ground and is basically like, I have a dad.
Yeah.
You're not my dad. And because that is what he believes.
Right.
And he has all the power to bend reality to him.
Right.
He's no longer the Antichrist.
He's no longer the Antichrist.
He defeats the devil without even intending to defeat the devil. Just by good nature.
I want my dad.
And appreciating his earthly family. Everything is right in the world.
Yep.
Literally.
Everything
is right in the world. I mean, the message in this is, before you get all thinking it's going to be silly or disrespectful or whatever, it's incredibly poetic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, there's a reason that's in the story has endured.
Yeah.
And is now a groundbreaking and much beloved television series.
All right, go ahead. Give us... Oh, I hit my mic, but I'm good.
That's okay.
It's cramped in this bookstore.
It is. It's just thousands of years of...
This ain't no Barnes & Noble, folks.
It's not, no.
This episode not brought to you.
And it's an interesting curation scheme.
Yes.
There seems to be no rhyme or reason to it.
I do love a good corner store.
Yeah, it is.
There's something to a good corner store.
Yep.
That's all I can say. This episode brought to you by corner stores. You got another rave? Because I kind of took over.
I have many raves. I'm going to bounce around. Let's see. Okay. Crowley's Bentley and Aziraphale's Bookshop, respectively. In the book, it's a 1924 Bentley. Neil Gaiman has said that is due to his lack of knowledge of cars when he was writing. He meant to it was always meant to be a 1934 Bentley.
Of course. Of course.
That was the look he wanted. And Aziraphale's Bookshop, what they represent to each of them about life, humanity, and existence. Aziraphale, he values knowledge and the story. He's a man of peace. And he, he's the chronicler. He just likes to observe. It's kind of like basically the collected history of man through writing.
Yeah.
And art. And what Crowley ventures is freedom and adventure, driving fast and hard, literally. He's essentially the rock star of hell. And the experience of driving and the freedom that comes with that literally has changed the world. And so those were two. It was an interesting way to embody those characters. It was a way for us to learn about those characters without giving us, episode upon episode upon episode. And just, when the Bentley is destroyed and the bookstore is burned, it really is Armageddon for those. That is what makes Armageddon real for both of them.
Yes, it does.
And
those two things.
I'm grieving. Give me a moment. It's just like spinning the crank to the Bentley.
Those two things are most palpably and physically their ties to Earth.
Earth, yes.
And so when those two things are destroyed, even though they've been working to avoid Armageddon all along, shit gets real.
Yes.
That's when things get serious.
Those are their two earthly connections.
Yes. The wings come out, shall you say.
They do.
And they indeed do.
They do.
They indeed do. Well, I'll carry on what you're saying, and I will just say that when talking about Aziraphale and Crowley, their design, their costuming, and the general aesthetic of them and their environments and the way they're framed in shots and what they eat. And everything is so perfectly consistent across the whole series. They never stray from character. They're written and performed dutifully and beautifully. That they are just these wonderful embodiments of heaven and hell, but not to the extreme. Not to the extreme that makes both of those dangerous to humans. And I loved it. It was just the art direction. It just it enriched the story so much visually. In a short series where you only have so much time, a picture contains 1,000 words. And so,
absolutely. Yeah.
They're using those visuals so smartly in this series, this miniseries. Yeah.
My next rave, I'll go to the cast all around. Tenant and Sheen are brilliant. Mm-hmm. But as is Michael McKean as Witch Hunter Sergeant Shadwell. Mm-hmm. I love Michael McKean. David St. Hubbins from This Is Spinal Tap, and he was also in the Short Circuit movies. Just a great comedic actor. And he brought a real gravity and levity at the same time. And I just really enjoyed that character. But also John Hamm as the corporate ass. Mm-hmm. Upper and middle management.
Yeah. He was great. He was Gabriel, right? He was Gabriel.
Yeah, he was Gabriel. And how fitting, an American representing heaven. You have these two Brits that are, there doesn't need to be a war. Of course there needs to be a war.
Yeah, I love Gabriel.
He was perfect in that role.
I loved him as a character that you didn't love.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He was easy to not like.
Yes.
He played it so well.
He was easier to not like than the head devil, whoever that was.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't recognize that actor.
I didn't either. But
to be fair, got less screen time than Gabriel.
Yeah.
Because Crowley wasn't really going to hell the way, what's his name?
Aziraphale
was going to heaven for because that's just their characters.
Yeah.
A rebel and a rule follower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'll also say that Jack Whitehall as Newton Pulsifer was excellent. Timid.
Remind me.
The witch hunter.
Private, the initiate.
The initiate.
Okay.
The love interest of Anathema Device.
Yep.
And then also Adria Arana as a Anathema Device. She was excellent. I'll combine these two raves into that. She was the perfect combination of strong and vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about other properties where they try and portray strong feminist character, and it just doesn't work because it winds up being
doesn't feel real.
Doesn't feel real, or they wind up writing this being a strong woman on screen sometimes is representative of just doing something a guy would say or do. Mm-hmm. And this was very real, and she was kind but also courageous. She was, clearly a strong modern woman, a feminist, if that's the term you want to use, but she was also accessible to the other characters around her, mm-hmm. And accepting of the kids. And, something we don't see. I mean, what I wrote here was she's the doctor we needed, but not the doctor we deserve.
Whoa, shots fired.
I mean, if we're going to, and we haven't done a full Doctor Who episode, of
we have plenty of time.
Of the first season of the new era of Who, but in terms of like Chris Chinbull's writing of the Doctor and Neil Gaiman's writing of Anathema Device, I mean, Anathema is essentially the Doctor of this story.
Yeah,
she's the observer that's not directly involved, but is just doing whatever is necessary to save as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. That's what the Doctor does. So I just love that character, and she was just so perfect for that role, and just brought a real accessibility to it, and also seemed to really understand that character well.
Yeah. Good on you.
Thank you.
Good on you. I love the prophecies. I mean, speaking of her, but I mean, I love that in anything, a twist of a prophecy. But yeah, only seeing how it comes to light after it's come to light.
And there was like a controlled frenzy to her and the prophecies that was very Doctor-esque, I thought.
Yeah. And it was driving her a bit mad that, I mean, they were unable to be deciphered. I mean, that's just the nature of prophecies, especially these prophecies. And it's only kind of in retrospect that you're like, oh.
Right.
I mean, the only two who really got it dead on right were Aziraphale and Crowley. They read the last prophecy and knew exactly what they had to do, which I loved.
Yes.
Which I loved.
It was meant for them.
It was meant for them. What was the woman's name? The witch?
Anathema Device.
No, not her.
Agnes Nutter.
Agnes
the
Nutter.
The Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter.
Right, that's the full title of the book. Good Omens.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to our two main protagonists, let's just talk about their friendship and how it evolved over the years, and how just wonderful it was. And we talk about this a lot in a lot of different properties, how wonderful it is to see a show that is hinged so heavily on just the idea of friendship. And it sounds so simple, and it sounds so...
But it's complicated.
But it's also like, well, if it's so easy, how come not a lot of people do it well?
Yeah.
You know? And this was a very real depiction of two very different people finding out that they're not that different.
Yeah.
And that they care for each other. And even though by definition, they're told they shouldn't care about each other. And
also they care for each other with... Also at the same time without necessarily liking each other. And that's a great moment where they do kind of have their breakup or what, I have to do what heaven wants of me.
Yeah.
And Carl's like, F that, we're on our side. I think he says that at one point. It was like, we're on different sides. And he's like, we're on our own side.
Yeah.
We're on the side of us. And like, we like the world. We have to save it. And I think his retort to that is like, I don't even like you.
Yeah.
And it's
but
he does care about it, even though he doesn't like it.
That's fair and realistic and true that you don't always even have to like the person that you care about. And even if you do like them, you're not going to like them all the time.
Yes.
And you can be such different people, but still be brought together, because they weren't even brought together by the Armageddon.
No, they were brought together in the garden.
And their friendship grew through just their appreciation of this world and the different things that this world could provide. And then, Crowley's always tempting, and Aziraphale's always trying to guide in the right way. They're each still their own person.
I don't know if it was in the first episode or if it was at the beginning of episode 3. Crowley being a demon, the reason he wears the sunglasses because he has demon eyes and the light hurts them. I don't remember if it was the first episode or episode 3, but when they're looking out over the garden,
that's the first episode.
Aziraphale shades.
Yeah, it starts raining,
and shades him.
What happens is the as humans are cast out of the Garden of Eden, rain starts falling like and then the rain starts falling, and Aziraphale, being the angel, the nice guy, despite this being his polar opposite and his mortal enemy, shields him with his wing to keep the water off of the demon.
Yep.
And it was
as simple as that.
It was as simple as that. And how do you get more good than that? Yeah. Like the archangels in heaven are like douchebags. The epitome of good, but
awful.
But good without how do I put this?
They're good because they were told they were good.
They're good by just, again, nature versus nurture.
Right.
They're good because they have no choice.
Yes.
In being good. They're good because they believe themselves.
But there's
to
also
be good.
nothing good about them.
Right. Right.
Like Crowley is by definition more good or better
100%
than Michael and Gabriel.
100%.
Yeah.
Especially because they are on the earthly realm.
Yes.
And so they have a broader sense of what it is to be good and it is to be bad. Otherwise, it's a very juvenile, very immature idea of what it is to be good and bad. It's just good and it's just bad.
So there's a hierarchy of like way back in my undergraduate days during adolescent psychology. I don't know if they made you take that.
Nope.
They made me take it.
Egyptology did not need you.
They didn't make you take that?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay.
Nope.
So adolescent psychology, one of the things you look at the hierarchy and the different properties of why people do the things they do.
Well, we're unpacking it now.
We are. But it's like, so there's like, at the bottom of the scale is selfishness,
Mm-hmm.
and at the top of the scale is altruism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something like only 15% of the population ever makes it to altruism. Most people end at fear of reprisal.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and just an example of this is driving.
Yeah.
Right. So why do people do the speed limit? Well, some people do the speed limit because they're afraid they're going to get pulled over and get a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And some people drive within the speed limit because not doing so with like 100 other cars on the road is reckless,
mm-hmm.
and you may kill someone.
Mm-hmm.
That being altruism. And only 15%, it's estimated only 15% of the population ever actually gets there. Most of us are stuck at, well, if I do this, I'm going to get in trouble.
I still think that's high. I mean, our society is boy, we're really getting into
We are.
it, guys. Welcome to getting into it.
Getting real with Shades and Sketch.
Shades and Sketch. I mean, the way our society and our system of laws is set up is really to cater to the majority of people who are
selfish little bastards.
Yeah, who are afraid of repercussions. Listen, I'll be honest. When I'm driving, for me, I'm 100%. I just don't want to get a ticket. Like that's 100% me. Because typically, I think like a lot of people who are selfish, because I'm probably still in that selfish thing, that like, yeah, I could handle it. Like I could still drive safely at 5 miles over, 10 miles over. But I'm like, I don't want to risk the ticket. In that situation, I'll admit it. I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. In other areas of my life, though, I try very much to look at other people.
Sure.
And look out for other people. And some might say too much.
Some might
say too much. Yeah. Do you have any other raves for Good Omens?
Sure. I do.
Because you've pretty much taken all of mine, so you might as well just take the rest.
This is like so silly that I wrote this down, but I found it so wonderful. Agnes Nutter's nice and accurate prophecies. They're clever, they're funny, and I like that she wrote one specifically for Aziraphale.
Yeah,
like as his cocoa got cold, or the cocoa was still hot, or something like that.
Yeah.
There was no reason for that.
No reason.
I loved that Aziraphale got his very own prophecy.
There is still listen, we're going hard and we're going deep into the message and the philosophy and everything, but there are still these moments of whimsy.
Yeah.
And that's a moment of whimsy.
It really is. And there's no reason for it other than like,
let's not forget to have fun.
Let's not forget to have fun, but that was the thing that in Aziraphale's whole life probably meant the most to him.
Yeah.
He was a part of the story.
Yeah.
Like he was a part of humanity.
Yeah. He was part of the book. Something that he's always looked at from the outside.
And it was, his bookshop was filled with books written by and about other men.
Yep. And
he was finally in one of the books.
Yeah.
And then, like, that meant the world to him.
It did.
And so like there was no really, we often hear like how authors love their characters and care about their characters. Like that's the epitome of like liking and caring about your character.
Yeah. They're as real to you as anyone else.
Yep.
And you care for them. And I'm trying to think. I know Crawley had something similar for him. Not prophecy related, but he did have that kind of care given to him by the author that made me feel like.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it was either. I mean, he had that real heart-to-heart moment where he was basically like, I'm not evil. Like,
yeah, it was like, I just hung around with the wrong people.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't fall. I just, I happened to be in the wrong, I was with the wrong people at the wrong time.
Yeah. And you felt for him.
Yeah.
Like you hurt for him in that moment. And, I know what it is. It was with the plants. Trying to get the plants to grow.
Yeah, trying to get the plants to grow.
And like, see, there's that moment of like wanting to be the nurturer and just like wanting to be, and at the end of the day, I mean, he saved everybody.
Every plant.
I almost said a lot of people, but he literally saved
everybody
as a team.
Yeah,
as a team, like friends do.
A unit,
like friends do. Well, like I said, you have taken all of my raves. So do you have any other raves? So
I don't have any other raves.
Oh.
I kind of like combined a bunch of them together.
Well, the thing is, it's tough. We're trying to hit the big themes, the big raves, because it's a short series.
I mean, there's so
without giving too much away.
I loved the progression of Adam and his friends.
Yeah.
And going from control back to participant in like abuse of power and like an understanding and growth of power, kind of in the same way we're talking about with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that whole, his friends standing up to him, but then also his friends like essentially becoming the new Horseman, like to understand like, okay, you messed up, but in the end, like we're your friends, we're here for you.
Yeah. And it goes back to the message that I said.
Yes, it does.
It's the world around you.
Yes.
It's the world around you that's shaping you before you should attempt to shape the world.
Yes.
Not that he was even intending at the very beginning to shape the world.
No.
Then it started to, the power started getting
went to his head.
But once again, the people he surrounded himself with, the family and the friends that he had chosen.
Yes.
Grounded him. Brought him right back to the earth. Guys, were you expecting such a heartfelt, in-depth look at Good Omens?
I also very much enjoyed Aziraphale and Crowley trying to like shape Warlock.
Oh my god!
Like
when Crowley shows up as the nanny. Holy shit! I lost it. I think that was the moment when I was like, I'm all in. Like I am all in. When David Tennant shows up as Mrs. Doubtfire, basically, I was this is.
And then
fantastic.
Aziraphale has like the
homely gardener.
The homely gardener.
And all for nothing. Because it's the wrong kid. That's the wrong kid. They spent like 10 years of their lives doing that, and it was just the wrong kid.
Just a waste of time.
I would like to like follow up and see how that kid's doing.
I know, right?
Like after that.
Because that kid was like such a D-bag.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You feel bad for him too, because like he's being essentially like groomed.
Yes.
They ruined his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he'll be neither good nor bad.
Yep.
Blank slate. He can go either way. He'll be what he'll be. Too much.
Oops. With great power.
No responsibility.
Yada.
Yeah. Don't say it.
All right. Well, you don't have any rants.
I have no rants.
But I do. And this is a good time to transition.
Similar to yourself,
rants.
I would say I want more.
Yeah, I mean, I want more too, but that isn't even one of my rants.
At the same time, I love that they set up a sequel and then immediately dashed it.
Yeah, they literally lit it on fire.
Yes.
Yeah. My rants are minor because it's only 5% of my score would be rants.
But
you brought up the Horseman.
Yes.
And so I'd like to talk about the Horseman for a second.
Actually, yeah.
That
might be a rant for me.
I did not get enough Horsemen. I loved their look. I loved their backstory, like where they came from, what they embodied, and I did feel like poof, they're gone.
Yes.
And I did love how they were defeated by the children. Like each one of the children stood up to one of the Horsemen, but the Horsemen never did enough for the kids defeating them to feel like that big of a victory. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
They were threatening through definition only.
Yes.
I did not see
what
the
I
evidence.
did like about the Horsemen was that some of them were replacements for the things that man no longer feared.
Yep.
And so disease was replaced by pollution. And then also...
but there was still war and death.
War and death. And then
famine. There's still famine.
Famine.
He owned a new... It was so clever. I loved it. He owned like a new like fast food eatery.
Yes.
But it wasn't food. It was like something else. I forget. You couldn't call it food because it actually had no substance to it. So it was actually people were gorging on it, but it was giving them nothing.
Yes.
Loved it.
Yes.
That's what I mean. I wanted more of that. And like pollution was cool.
Right.
And I love the idea of her, but like let's use her a little more. Let's I don't know.
Yeah, there was nothing to them.
And then Death shows up and Death is sick. Like he's really cool. And they looked freaking fantastic.
I loved the motorcycles that they rode as well.
And they're each unique.
Yes.
And that's it. That's the modern take on the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Loved them. So in that I said
that was weak.
Like I wanted more of like the back and forth between Crowley and Aziraphale like in their ages, but I got enough to be happy.
Sure.
I didn't get enough to be happy with the horsemen.
I read an interview actually doing some of the research for this, and it was a choice by Neil Gaiman, who was also the showrunner for this. I think this is the first time he's been the showrunner. That he had to cut something to make it fit in 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to cut any of Terry's stuff.
No.
That he contributed, so he was happy to cut the horsemen. Because in the book, I guess, there's more than 4 horsemen.
Oh, really?
They haven't retired. They've just added.
Yeah, they've added more.
Yeah, and they had a much bigger role in the book.
Listen, I wouldn't want him to cut anything out of it.
Yeah.
I just question these days why must it be 6 then?
Yeah.
If it would take 7 to tell the full story, there's nothing holding you back from that these days. It's just, I mean, I assume that the number 6 came from Amazon. We want a 6-episode series.
I don't know.
That's a guess.
I would agree. Or maybe the BBC.
Or the BBC. Whoever.
It seems like the BBC probably produced it and Amazon was the distributor.
Yeah.
If I had to
take a swing.
Yeah.
Taking a swing. Woo! There it goes.
I mean, that's how these things work. Like some production studio films, puts up the money, and then they look for a distributor if they can't find a terrestrial.
Well, no one distributes better
than Amazon.
It's
true. I was surprised that they didn't make the delivery guy an Amazon.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that was
too.
Such a
so
obvious.
I was so sad when he died.
I know,
but at least
he also got to come back.
He got to come back.
I was so sad that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, because he was just a guy.
He was just a guy
doing his job.
Someone's going to make the deliveries.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it.
And like a good guy.
Yep.
Like a good guy human.
Because they set it up for the viewer to think he was evil.
Right. Oh, yes, they did.
He was just a normal
because he's delivering packages to the 4 horsemen, basically like turning them on.
Yes.
Like activating them, making them appear.
Just makes the deliveries.
And so everybody gets their tool.
Yeah.
And then to summon death, what do they get?
He gets hit by a truck.
He gets killed.
Yeah.
Ah, damn it.
Yep.
You know? Okay, my other rant, and you'll probably argue me on this one a little bit, just because of what you were saying earlier, but I never latched on to the human protagonist the way I did Aziraphale and Crowley. So, and specifically, I'm talking about not the kids and not the older two, not the older couple, but like the
Anathema and
yes. I never, and it's like the horsemen, I never got enough of them to really start rooting for them.
Well, okay. I think that was by design.
Okay.
So anathema literally is like an older term for excommunication, like banished. And they actually save the Earth from nuclear Armageddon.
They save the world from the actual act of destruction.
Yes.
And
without them,
Adam,
that still would have had. So
oh, absolutely.
the world would have been saved, but it would be a barren
yes,
wasteland.
No, I definitely see that. I definitely see
that.
Yeah,
they were like the C plot.
Yeah. Yes, they were like the C plot.
They were literally just a device to deliver the prophecies unto Aziraphale and Crowley.
And I guess for me, what makes it the slightest of the rant is that when I was watching their scenes, in the back of my head, it was always, all right, let's get back to A and B. I was like,
interesting.
I was like always ready for A and B.
I was always wondering what was happening with Anathema.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I certainly liked her more than him.
Yeah.
I mean, his big contribution was that anything he touches technology-wise, basically.
Computers, yes.
Yeah.
Any computer he touches immediately shuts off.
Yeah. Okay. Like,
I have a big question about that.
That's fine, I suppose. But like, it's not much.
It was definitely the weakest of the stories, even less compelling than Shadwell.
Yeah, like by the end of Shadwell's journey, I was like, okay,
I love that he thought
I'm on board.
He thought he had a death touch.
Yes, like
that was amazing.
By the end of his journey with the woman,
yes.
Who has Aziraphale in her body,
yes.
basically. I was like, okay, I like how they've gotten to this point. I like how they've arrived here, and I like what's happened to these two characters.
You should be two people again.
Yeah. Whereas, I guess with the other two, I didn't see as big of a journey. Okay,
there wasn't as big of a journey. Yeah, there wasn't as big of a journey.
From begin to end with the two of them. Not a big enough journey in a show of
journeys,
big journeys. Yeah. Minor rants. I mean,
minor.
Even though I've listed these two things, they're not powerful. They don't take away the greatness of the show. They're just little things that, I'm a professional. I'm a professional. I got to sit down. I got to call them like I see them.
I guess I will, if I did have a rant, Shadwell's story had literally no consequence to the overall journey, except for to be the device by which Aziraphale perished.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I mean, that and
complete happenstance.
Yes. He was certainly the human of like you said, happenstance.
Yes.
Like just kind of bubbling along.
Life happened to him.
Life happened to him. But through his presence, things happened.
Yes. You were issued a body and a flaming sword. You're late and you are in possession of neither.
Heaven, but both heaven and hell, both like I wouldn't want to be in either of those two places. They both looked horrible.
They're every shitty corporation that's ever existed anywhere.
Yeah, they really were. They were like corporations. That's exactly what it was. And I love it. Just a small thing, but God was never present in heaven.
No, nor was Satan in hell.
And nor was Satan in hell. Yep. I mean, it was underlings running the show, and taking it in the wrong direction.
Yes.
For as bad as we... Well, I mean, I guess that's another message,
Yep.
Follow the wrong people, you go down the wrong path.
Wrong path.
Yeah. Guys, did you think we were going to get this deep in this show?
What a great show.
What the F? Shays, do you have any big questions?
I do. I have 3 big questions.
Wow.
Do you have any big questions?
Yeah, I got 2.
Should I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Just for clarification, Sergeant Witch Hunter Shadwell was both Crowley and Aziraphale's quote-unquote people?
Yeah, he was.
But neither of them knew that?
Correct.
Okay. Did Shadwell know that he worked for both?
He definitely knew that he worked for both, but he didn't know like who he was working for.
Okay.
But... I mean, I understand how he came to be working for Crowley.
I don't understand how he came to work for Aziraphale.
I don't either, but it was established that he was kind of the ears on the ground.
Yes, for both of them.
Definitely for both of them.
He
reported to both.
Did Aziraphale and Crowley know that he worked for both of them?
No, I don't think they ever did. Maybe now at the very end.
Yeah, at the very end.
But when each of them was calling upon him,
shall we put our people on them?
Yeah. See, and like you say, he was happenstance. Like he was, just coincidence that he ended up working for both of them. He was their boots on the ground. But yeah, I don't think either of them knew that he was the extent of both of their people.
No.
Which again is like,
what a message!
Like these beings, these entities that are so powerful, and they're relying their hands.
Yes.
are
the
like
least capable.
Are like children's hands. Yeah. It would be like it's like a surgeon coaching a 5-year-old through a surgery. Like, and but you know what? Everything ended up as it should.
Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine if that's how the universe actually worked?
I know. And I mean, that's so many messages. In this. Like the message there is that, you know what? Don't worry, because things like this could be happening, and it's as it should be. So everyone just chill.
Bananas.
Everyone just calm down.
It is. It is cocoa bananas.
For all of the warring and all of the disagreements, and for all of the arguing over the how close one another is to the truth, it all comes down to this. Like this guy who,
it all comes down to Michael McKean.
Yeah, who just like you wouldn't trust to like watch your dog.
Heaven and hell.
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic.
And it all works out.
Sure.
When it came right down to it, he was exactly where he needed to be, and he did exactly what he needed to do. And it's like there's the faith in the show. But like,
yes,
you just have faith that things will turn out as needed.
Sure.
Speaking of him, real roundabout, I really did like. I just loved Nutter. Was that her name?
Agnes Nutter.
Agnes Nutter. I love how like that episode where the mob comes to get her, and she's like, "You're late," and she just marches out to the stake to be burned, and comes to find out that she's filled her bloomers with gunpowder, so she takes everyone
and the
out.
Entire town.
I loved that.
Yeah,
I love it because you know what would a quote unquote witch who can see the future actually do if they're about to be burned by the stake?
Right.
I love it. That's exactly what she would do.
Thou shalt not commit adultery, Pulsifer.
Yeah, that was great. Oh, this show has
his parents should be shot.
It's my big question.
It is your big question.
I'll
try and give you a big edge.
I think this is an opposite, but when the true Armageddon comes, because obviously this was not the true Armageddon, because it didn't happen.
Right.
Are we to believe now that the great battle at the end of times, will not be between good and evil, but will be between the divine and the humans?
Ooh.
Because, and when I say the divine, I mean both.
Yeah.
I mean the immortal, shall I say?
Sure.
The immortal and the humans. Because when you look at this series and the way they've painted both sides, they are so identical to the same sides of the same coin that it's really, truly humanity that is counter to their divinity. And
yes.
And the follow-up question is it safe to assume that Aziraphale and Crowley will be leading the humans?
Yes.
And fighting for the humans?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Because the world has shaped them.
Yes.
And they will fight for the world.
And
I truly believe that in this universe, that is this God's plan.
Okay.
That these two, Aziraphale and Crowley, are meant to be where they are, soaking in humanity and soaking in the world.
Standing between humanity and
yes,
Armageddon.
Yes.
Okay.
I truly believe and that's why she gets quiet towards the end.
Okay.
Because they're stepping up more. They're filling in. They're telling the story now.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
This is not one that I wrote down, but maybe you can shed some light on it.
Sure.
Why?
Good pun, by the way.
Thank you.
Shed some light.
Aziraphale is gifted a flaming sword.
Flaming sword. Flameo, Hotman.
Yes.
He says that at one point.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, gosh, no.
That was not this, but he should have.
That was another deity.
Was Was it intended for Aziraphale to be one of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse?
Ooh, that's a good question. That is a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that flaming sword has biblical reference. I mean, I know
yes,
that,
it does.
Yeah, but I mean, St. Michael has the sword in biblical times, and that in sheathing it means the end of God's wrath. But is Aziraphale again? I hearken back to what I just said about God's plan for these two beings. I think it's as she intended it to be.
I want to see the story of how the sword
made it to where it
made it from to one of the horsemen's.
Yeah,
that was War's, right?
War had it.
War had it.
Yeah.
I love when it shows back up. Didn't that used to be yours?
Yeah. War, because War couldn't have existed. Obviously. I guess none of them existed until they were kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
Right. So
when I guess War was birthed probably in the blood that was spilled from the flaming sword, and she took it.
Okay,
that'd be my guess.
So I guess my question is: was Aziraphale originally intended to be the Horseman of War?
So I will say no.
Okay,
only because I it's so counter his being, regardless of what happens to him. But I do think it was intended to go to him so that it would eventually end up where it was for the Horseman of War.
Okay.
Because he's the last angel to give that sword to.
Yeah.
Give him a book, or give him
a pen,
a flashlight, or
a moleskin notebook.
Sure, a spoon.
Oh yeah,
a
teaspoon.
Because he would be like, if he would be an anti horseman, he's the anti-famine. Because he loves the sweets.
Loves the sweets.
So yeah, because what did they say towards the end? Like God's plan is unerring. Right. And it's just like, well, it's incomprehensible. You can never know.
Right.
And so I think it was all just part. I think it was all just part of this plan. That sword was going to end up exactly where it did, but it would have only ended up that way if Aziraphale lost it.
Right.
And no other angel would have lost it. No other angel had pity enough on humans to go, okay, you're going out into this dangerous wilderness. You should have this.
I like that immediately upon leaving the garden.
Yeah. There's a tiger.
Kill the tiger. Just the tiger. There's a tiger immediately upon leaving the garden.
Just in the background. Yep. It's just like back there, just like coming after Adam and Eve. Yeah, that was great.
Fantastic.
Okay, here's my next question. So like you said, the original book was written in 1990.
Yes.
And it made perfect sense that Pestilence retired and was replaced by Pollution, because, it's all about the downfall of humanity. And in the 90s, we're dealing with major medical advancements.
Yes.
But we're also dealing with the rise of pollution and the destruction of the natural world. So it makes sense that Pestilence retires and Pollution takes its place. My question is, if the book were written today...
Ooh.
Do you think Pestilence would have still retired, or would they have instead their humanity's deception? Would they have been the leader of the anti-vax revolution?
Yeah,
because that just it's almost like it's written for.
And just
the role of.
Just a reminder, if there are any anti-vaxxers still listening to our podcast, fuck you.
Yeah, I mean it's just irresponsible.
Please,
but I mean, the fact that it's like gaining traction is like a sign of like the Horsemen of Pestilence.
I hate to bring
real world into our fake world.
But I mean, we live in a universe in which we're basing a whole movement essentially on the ravings of a former Playboy playmate.
Mm-hmm.
With no scientific credibility whatsoever.
Did you know I've known so little of the movement that I literally yesterday I learned that she has been like the leading voice,
the leading voice of the anti-vaxxer movement.
And I was like,
if you don't know who we're talking about, Jenny McCarthy, very vocal on the fact that she believes a vaccine gave her son autism.
Yeah. And
which is just
it's irresponsible.
It's
using
why are we entertaining this
to
person?
bring it back to the Spider-Man? She's Mysterioing it.
Yes,
she's controlling the narrative, and the scary thing is that guys, so many people are following.
But polio and measles have returned,
and that's why
two diseases we eliminated in the last 50 years.
That's why I'm saying if the book were if it were written
the anti-vaxxer
now,
yes,
I don't think pestilence would have been no longer a fear. I think it would be a legitimate.
Yep.
Oh, look, pestilence is gaining traction again. Like, it would almost be like you could see the horsemen like talking.
Right.
Like, like at that diner where they show up and being like, Pestilence, I've seen your recent work lately. Yes. You are really coming back in a big way. Like, good job, Pestilence. So you agree that Pestilence would not be retired?
I agree. Pestilence would not have retired.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think Pestilence retired in the book. I think Gaiman shaved down the number of horsemen. Mm-hmm. I think they had more. From what I read, there were more than 4. Mm-hmm. There were 6 to 10.
Well, it's nice in this such short
based on
series.
My understanding. Yes.
We all know the 4 horsemen, so it's you don't have to explain why there's more or anything like that. Like, one retires and one takes its place.
Guys, please vaccinate your children. Please, like all of them.
Doodle is vaccinated.
Oh, this could
before we get the tweets and the
fantastic.
And the
Thank you. Thank you. Doodle thanks you.
Doodle does thank you.
Doodle please vaccinate your children.
Yeah. Did you think we were going to be talking about vaccinating children in today's episode? Did you think it?
It comes up quite a bit, Sketch.
Comes up.
It does.
That's, we don't like to put too much real world in our fake world, but it's kind of like responsible on our part to be like, hey, just by the way, like,
by the by,
like do that. Like, it's going to be sad the day that Drew Carey at the end of Price and Right has to be like, don't forget to spay and neuter your pets and vaccinate your children. But we're getting there.
We're closer
every day.
Yeah.
Chase, do you have any other big questions about
I do actually. Omens? Okay. Was Newton Pulsifer's power a result of a curse placed on thou shalt not commit adultery Pulsifer, or just his own deal?
Good question.
It was unclear to me as whether it was a result of the curse from Agnes Nutter or if it was just his thing.
Remind me of the curse.
I'm a little
okay. Don't remind me of the curse.
I remember an exchange between the two. But I can't remember if Agnes just says, like, your descendants and my descendants, blah, 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 or if she cursed him. It was vague. It was a little hazy.
Based on what I remember.
Yes.
Isn't that great? What a great podcast we have where we're like, based on what I remember. I don't think Nutter had the power to curse. I agree. I think Nutter only had the power to see the future. And if she did anything in terms of the curse, it wasn't a real curse. All it was just that bug in your ear. So it's like that, just like that doubt.
And the prophecy that she wrote about him was that he was not what he seemed. Mm-hmm. Correct?
I don't remember.
Because he told her that he was a computer programmer or computer engineer.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the prophecy.
Yeah.
But in that context, he is not what he seems.
No,
and that was
because he's not good at computers.
Yeah.
He's horrible at computers.
Oh, yes.
They all turn off.
He is the computer Armageddon.
Yes. So I think less than a curse, it's just his deal. It was just his deal. It was just his misfortune, I suppose. But all of ours fortune.
Yeah. Worked out.
The real question is, does his deal now continue? Now that it has served its purpose.
Right. Is he still
kind of cursed in that way? We'll quote that there. Cursed.
Air quotes. Makes for great audio.
That is what you need to find out, which is never answered. The show pretty much ends.
Up in smoke.
Yeah.
Flames.
Yep. Holy smoke. I'm at a big question.
Oh, you're at a big question?
Nice short series. Wraps up nicely. Do you have any other big questions?
I have one more big question. At the spoilers,
oh boy.
At the end of the series, Crowley and Aziraphale are both made to pay for their transgressions against heaven and hell.
Yeah, they're going to be destroyed.
Crowley is to be bathed in holy water,
which we have
delivered by Michael.
Yep, which we have established because Crowley kills a demon
with holy water.
That doesn't just send them to hell. That literally destroys them. It removes them from existence.
Aziraphale to be burned in hellfire.
In hellfire, yes.
It is like the antithesis of each other. They're kryptonite, if you will.
It is what will make them cease to be.
Yes.
If they are killed, quoting here again, killed on the mortal plane, they really just return home.
As spirits.
Hell,
they lose their
corporal body.
Their corporal, yes.
But they return to heaven and hell respectively. But these two tools of the opposite will destroy them outright, completely.
So Aziraphale and Crowley are both put on trial. Their punishment is death by hellfire and holy water, respectively. Neither one of them is
they're immune.
Is affected. They are immune. And Crowley gives this speech. You're going to leave us alone. And how long is it going to last? Long enough.
Yeah.
Until they figure it out. So everybody's kind of, why doesn't this have any effect on them? There's a blip.
Oh, a blip.
And they're standing in different places.
We're blipping again.
And my question is, was it a glamour that they just appeared as the other, or did they physically switch bodies? Since they're corporeal, they're just vessels.
Yeah.
Was it just a glamour in which Crowley looked like Aziraphale and Aziraphale looked like Crowley, or did their spirits inhabit each other's corporeal vessels?
I think they only switched in the appearance.
So it was just a glamour.
I think it was just a glamour. Because I would fear that if any part of them was like, if it was one's entity in the other's being.
Right.
It's too big of a risk that like the holy water would erase Crowley's being and vice versa. So I really think it was just a glamour, as you say. And the real strength of the deception was that both of their respective sides already distrusted them, already felt like they had spent too long with the other team. And so their natural assumption, once they were immune, was that they've been tainted.
Yes.
And it wasn't, they switched places.
Right.
So I think it's all that was needed was just the glamour to just look like each other, and their own assumptions
good nor evil
are going to, are really going to be what's going to sell this ruse.
Yes.
And it was brilliant. I loved it.
It was, what an ending.
I like when Aziraphale's like, I asked for a rubber ducky.
Yes.
When he's Crowley just kicking around in the bath. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, and they got to spend a little bit of time in each other's shoes, literally. And I think it was good for both of them.
Agree, yeah.
Yeah. Agree. Loved it. Perfect ending.
It really was.
Perfect ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to revisit?
No, I just think it was
perfect.
Solid.
It was the perfect length. It was well produced. I'm sure it didn't have the biggest budget, but I was very impressed with all the effects.
Whatever size budget they had worked perfectly for what they did. Listen, people's religious beliefs are a touchy subject, and everyone is entitled to their own. And I just think that the underlying message or messages of this program should not be ignored. I mean, they are, it casts such a wide net, and it is so welcoming to a variety of viewers to take this in and really mull it over. Really kick it around in your noggin.
Yeah, and I will just echo what you said there, Sketch, with, if you're one of the people that wrote in to have this canceled, take the stick out of your behind and just think a little.
I really feel like you're hurting your cause.
Yeah.
And when you see the message that you're truly rallying against, it's time for a little reassessment of self, because this is using religious characters and symbolism and iconography to tell at the base a very purely universal and human story.
If Thor's an Avenger,
yeah,
and dragons are trained,
yeah,
then we can have this too.
I used
then
to
an angel that even
we
can
used to
go on
think
an adventure.
That Thor was a myth, but now I learn about him in physics class.
Yeah. Quote Peter Parker.
And who's to say that here we
Time will
are
tell.
on this little blue marble of a planet. Who's to say that this show didn't just nail the nail on the head?
I was recently informed that the Earth is flat, and that makes sense to me.
Okay, well, we don't have time to unpack that.
I'll just add flat. If there are any flat Earthers still listening, fuck you.
There are flat Earthers literally around the globe. Let that sink in for a second.
Oh, man.
Guys, if you need proof that the Earth is not flat, just keep in mind the universal truth that if the Earth was flat, cats would have pushed everything off of it by now. Because I think we can all agree that cats are dicks that push things off of things.
If there are any cats listening, fuck you.
Fuck you, cats.
Fuck you, cats.
Yeah, I'm like legit allergic to cats. So cats.
Me too.
Cats.
Me too. Fuck you, cats.
Come on, cats.
My favorite, I think we've talked about this really recently. My favorite response to flat earthers is Buzz Aldrin.
Mm-hmm.
At 93 years young, just knocked a guy.
Belted a guy in the face.
Belted a guy in the face.
Yeah. Guys, what are we doing? What are we doing?
You're a liar. The Earth is flat. Boom. Laid him out.
We're at the point
93 years young.
Where we're talking about this again.
I know.
It's 2019 and we still have to like seriously talk about the fact that like,
oh man,
the Earth is. Do you see the other planets? They're all. I mean, okay. I can't even.
I'm just waiting for the argument that the sun revolves around the Earth.
It's coming
back. It's only a matter of time.
It's coming. We're getting back to all of them. All of them.
It's only a matter of time.
Yep. The seasons change because a goddess is brought down to the underworld. I don't see proof. You show me proof that that's not true, Shades. It's on you.
Convince me I'm wrong.
It's on you to show me
I'm wrong.
that that's not happening every spring/fall. Gosh darn it, guys.
Let's call up Jenny McCarthy and get her thoughts on the subject.
Oh, boy. Whew. Jenny McCarthy, if you want to call in, I wouldn't. I mean...
At this point, Jenny McCarthy, fuck you.
I can't promise we'd be respectful. I try to stay as respectful as possible, but when it comes to children's health, there's no effing around with that stuff.
I mean, I don't... This is just going on forever, but my favorite thing I read in the last month about this was a young couple posted on Reddit asking what they could do to protect their children from measles.
Yeah. Without vaccinating? Without what they're trying to do here?
Without a vaccine.
You know what? I'll leave you with this because then we'll leave it alone. I will tell you what gives me hope.
Okay.
Is that for as large of a group as anti-vaxxers are, now there is a new group forming and rising and gaining traction of children of anti-vaxxers who are looking how to get vaccinated without their parents' permission.
Yes.
Good on you, kids.
Good on you, kids.
And
children are our future.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
And it's sad when they have to self-advocate for that in a first world country.
Yes.
But
is it?
Well,
give it time.
I'll leave it at that. The kids are figuring it out.
Remember, kids, boil your water.
You have other
refrigerate your eggs. Stop, drop, and roll.
Did you know you don't have to refrigerate your eggs if they are
unpasteurized?
Yes. If you get them from like a local farmer.
Yeah. Same thing with milk.
So guys, if you get your eggs like at a farmer's market or something like that, you don't need to refrigerate them.
Yes. Yep. But if you buy them at the supermarket, by all means, please refrigerate your eggs.
Also, tomatoes. Don't refrigerate tomatoes.
Well,
it's not bad for them. It just kills their flavor.
Kills their flavor.
Guys.
Yep.
Come on.
Fresh anything.
This is 2019.
Yeah.
This is 2019. Don't refrigerate your tomatoes.
Salt your fish and pork.
If there's one thing you take away from this
don't
episode,
eat shellfish.
It's don't refrigerate your tomatoes.
Don't refrigerate your tomatoes.
That should just be like our code, like hen wick wig, like vaccinate your kids. It's
don't refrigerate your tomatoes.
Don't refrigerate your tomatoes. Now you guys will know that means make sure you get your kids vaccinated.
The word.
Yeah, we're the resistance, I guess. Viva la resistance.
Don't refrigerate your tomatoes.
Yeah. I guess that brings us to Shades of Sketch Recommendations.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to recommend that you don't refrigerate your tomatoes. You guys know what I'm talking about.
What are you actually going to recommend?
I am actually going to recommend another show in a similar vein.
Okay.
Have you heard of the show Miracle Workers?
I have not. That's with Daniel Radcliffe, yes?
Yep,
and
so it's with Daniel
Steve
Radcliffe.
Buscemi is God?
Yes, so it is in a similar vein of Good Omens in that it is a modern take on heaven and angels and all of this. It was on TBS. It was another short miniseries, only 6 episodes, half hour each. Very funny. The premise is that God, played by Steve Buscemi, is just so kind of tired and fed up with Earth that he has decided to destroy it and kind of just start over. He's actually going to not do a planet this time. He's going to do a restaurant named Lazy Susan's, and all of the food rotates around the center of the restaurant, and all the patrons have grabbers, and they grab what food they want.
Who eats it? Who are the patrons?
Well, there are other entities other than humans.
Okay,
so, like,
gotcha.
The premise here is that God is just one of many deities throughout the universe, and they all have their own planets and solar systems.
Let's really get deep here.
Let's get into it.
The Elohim, was one of many Sumerian gods.
So there you go.
They just happened to mesh, if you will, in speed dating with the those
there you go, speed dating
in the Israelites, if you will, with And
so Steve Buscemi is going to do this, going to destroy the Earth, but the angels will be out of a job, and there is this one young kind of angel upstart who's just hoping to make her mark on the world, hoping to make a difference as an angel, and she makes a bet with God that if she can answer just one marked impossible prayer, that he will spare Earth. And unfortunately for her, although she thinks it's the right decision, she chooses the impossible prayer of making 2 people fall in love.
Oh, no.
Or they settle on just sharing a first kiss. And she has 7 days in which to do it. And she enlists the help of the Department of Answered Prayers, who is Daniel Radcliffe, an angel who is so overworked and so fried that any help he gives is not exactly help at all. And I love Harry Potter. I've never had more respect for Daniel Radcliffe than I have in this series.
He's young actor.
Absolutely brilliant in this. Yeah. It's got quite a cast of characters. It's very well written. It is quite funny. And again, just like Good Omens, has a nice message at the end of it.
Fantastic.
So I honestly, it aired on TBS. I watched it live. I don't know where you could find it. But if you can find it, if you can find it, I recommend Miracle Workers.
All right.
Daniel Radcliffe and Steve Buscemi. If you see them, you're in the right place.
Did you know that you can buy merch for the show? One of the merchandise items is a toaster that toasts Steve Buscemi's face as God in Miracle Worker onto the toast.
I won't give away the joke, but I think because I'm thinking about it right now, I think the funniest gag is when Daniel Radcliffe really fears for the wrath of God and what that entails.
Okay.
I will leave it at that so that I will not ruin anyone who is going to follow my recommendation. But if you watch it and you know what I mean, write in and tell me what you think about that, because I thought it was perfect.
Fantastic.
Miracle Workers.
And
I heard they're going to do a second season.
Fantastic.
So I guess spoilers. The Earth survives.
No Lazy Susans.
Not yet.
I am also going to recommend, it right in the vein of Good Omens and Miracle Worker, a comic book called Wormwood.
Ooh.
And similarly, a story in which a duo, are desperately trying to avert the apocalypse. Only this time, it centers on Danny Wormwood, who is a reluctant antichrist, and his best friend, reincarnated Jesus.
Oh.
So you have the Antichrist and Christ, son of Satan, and the reincarnated son of the Judeo-Christian deity.
Some might call him the anti-Antichrist.
The anti-Antichrist adventures in which Danny is constantly being tempted and manipulated by his father Satan to bring about Armageddon. And he's a malevolent Antichrist. He just wants to leave humanity alone and let the world be, and just pal around with his best friend, Jesus.
Yeah. To be fair, leaving us alone is the best way to lead to our demise.
Sure.
Really seems that way lately.
In this universe, Danny can affect one permanent change a day.
Okay, that's not a bad deal.
It's not, and it's an interesting twist on it. So he can change one thing permanently per day.
Okay.
And hilarity and hijinks ensue. At one point, and I should say, God is also constantly intervening. And so, Jesus and Danny are kind of rebellious young adults who just kind of buck the system of both their destinies. They just want to pal around and have a good time and enjoy the world.
It sounds like a fresh take using timeless characters to tell that typical coming of age story.
Yes. My favorite, there's just a wonderful frame in this book. It's long running, in which, spoilers, at one point, Danny and Jesus are both killed, and they go on a road trip through the afterlife. And they're driving alone, and Jesus, kind of like looks over the side of the convertible they're driving in, and he says, I always thought it was good intentions. And the next frame paves out, and Danny, and there's a little bubble. It's Danny's like, nope, mimes. And they're literally driving a convertible on a road of mimes to hell.
That's nice.
And it's just such a visual.
Oh, I can picture it vividly.
Yeah. And, it's just a wonderful story, irreverent, funny. Again, one of those things that if to write with such irreverence, you have to have a strong knowledge and understanding and appreciation for the belief system and the works and the story, if you will, if not the belief system. It's just a fun comic. Cool. I believe it's still going.
Wow.
It's long running, but it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
We need a little fun.
And it's good to have a little fun every once in a while.
Wormwood.
All right. Or the official name might be the Wormwood Chronicles.
The Wormwood Chronicles.
But yeah, just search for Wormwood. It's a good time.
Very good. Very good.
Sketch, you take anything?
You know what's going to look great above the mantle? We haven't put anything above the mantle.
It's been a while.
We need to put something right above the fireplace. Maybe in the fireplace.
Right in line with the broken Captain America shield.
This will look great behind the broken guy.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm taking the flaming sword because it seems to have been misplaced once again, and no one will miss it.
Yeah,
Who knows? Maybe this is exactly where it needs to be.
Maybe it is. Maybe.
God help us. Shades, I dare not even ask because I really feel like I know where this is going, but are you going to take anything?
Well, I do believe it's time to make an addition to my subterranean GoCo garage.
Yeah.
Subterranean's not the right word.
It is not the right word.
Sub-level GoCo garage.
Yeah.
I'm taking this 1934 Bentley.
Perfect.
For the love of me, I can't imagine why. Oh, that's why Crowley didn't take the car, because it was a Xerophil.
Aziraphale took the car?
No, when the car's all back to normal and Crowley walks by it, he doesn't get in and drive. It wasn't Crowley, it was a Xerophile because he was going to hell.
Bingo.
That's why.
See?
Just answered my own question.
There you go.
There we go. But yeah, I'm taking it.
Anywho.
You won't miss it.
Neither here nor there. You're taking it.
I'm taking it.
Much like Captain America, if these things are needed again, we can return them right to the point.
Exactly. Exactly.
We have yet to see them needed again, though.
Yes.
So. Great.
Longtime listeners, you may recall at the beginning of this episode, we talked about our Patreon, and you might notice that we take no breaks for advertisers. We don't want to take money from products we don't believe in, and we don't want to crowd your airwaves with products that you don't want to buy. So we kindly ask, if you're a fan of the show, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/shadesansketch, and you can become a subscriber of the show for as little as $1. And it helps us keep the lights on and keep the show cost neutral to host and produce.
And other than helping us out, you will also get special episodes.
Yes.
You'll be able to vote on upcoming episodes.
Yeah, it's a real interactive experience.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of starting to post my show notes. Are a little fun. You can get a glimpse into my notebook.
You don't want to see mine, guys.
It's just madness.
I'm an artist.
It's like those movies in asylums where people are just scribbling incoherently on the walls.
I give you the art, though. Yeah. I do my part.
You do, yes. The episode art is wonderful.
Oh yeah. Guys, did you know that's me?
I thought a fun Patreon thing might be for me to do my version of your episode art.
Oh boy,
that would just be hilarious. I would think.
Guys, for a certain amount of money, you can watch Shades.
A fun new Patreon.
Basically,
it's not insulting. You're the artist. I'm not a visual artist.
Yeah. We should have like $150 tier, and I'll add you to the art. There you go.
Oh, hey, there you go.
There you go.
100. That'll be so our top tier right now is Michael Knight. What would that tier be?
That's a good question. Crowley.
We'll
think about it.
The 10th Doctor.
Yeah, just the doctor.
The 10th Doctor.
The doctor.
Yeah.
So,
Patreon.com/shadesansketch. And we are coming up on that August 15th deadline from we need to renew our hosting plan to keep all of these episodes up for you, our entire back catalog, ad-free, on demand, whenever you want it.
Speaking of August as well, I'll just take this opportunity to say thank you, everybody, because we're coming up on our 50th episode.
Yes!
Very big milestone.
Yes.
Wouldn't be possible without all of you fine longtime listeners.
Yes.
Not only listening, but urging others to listen as well.
Yes.
We appreciate it. We welcome all of our new longtime listeners. Guys, in case you didn't know, the second you tune in, you're a long-time listener.
Yes.
That's our term of endearment for you. And it is truly appreciated. Honestly, would we still be doing this if you guys didn't like it? Probably.
Hilariously,
would we be recording it? Probably not. But so look forward to that. In I believe August will be our 50th.
Sitting in a room with microphones and no recorder.
Yep.
That would be amazing.
That's what we did for like 15 years before we hit the record button.
Yes.
Yep. That stroke of genius that one day.
What's this?
Let's just push this. No, guys, we have 15 years of back catalog that we never recorded. We just forgot. Oh, embarrassing.
What a waste.
Embarrassing.
So much material.
Yeah. That Justice League episode was great. So that's just a little plug for our future. But also, guys, you can find us on Facebook. Just Facebook search Geeking Out with Shades and Sketch.
We're also on Twitter at Shades and Sketch. But if you'd like to talk directly to Sketch, you can tweet him at Go4Sketch.
And if you would like to talk directly to Shades, you can tweet him at Go4Shades. Do you see what we did there?
Yeah.
Do you see that? You
can also email the show.
Oh, I was going to say, and the show has its own Twitter.
Oh, the show, yes.
Which is just at Shades and Sketch.
I already said that.
You did?
Yes.
Sometimes I don't listen. Guys, do you do now?
Sometimes.
You
can also email the show directly at gowithshadesansketch.
Recommendations, critiques, things you want us to talk about on our midstreams.
Please do write in. We try and respond to and incorporate all of our listener feedback.
And if you're skipping the midstreams, which I get it, you're busy. But I mean, the midstreams is where we talk about the current geek events.
Yes.
So you don't hear us talk as much anymore on our normal episodes about, the current going on, the trailers that just dropped, the latest controversy with who they are casting in such and such. We're talking about all that stuff on our bi-weekly midstreams. Yes. So don't forget to tune into those.
Please and thank you. And as of course, if you are so inclined, leave us a rating and review on your platform of choice. It really does make the difference in boosting the profile of an independent show such as ours.
And guys, last but certainly not least, please, whatever you do, do not forget, don't refrigerate your tomatoes. You know what I mean.
Spread the word. See you next time.
See you next time.